And we're back, guys, here with Crypt again, here to give you a quick update on the miner behind me and how it's hashing and what the troubles I've been running into, I guess, the last little while, and as well as answer a few questions that have been asked to me in messages, as well as just through some of my friends and coworkers and whatnot. So stay tuned for that. First off, guys, we got the miner here. I already showed it all off last time, but I've been having a bit of difficulty keeping it running. It runs for a few hours and then cuts out, kind of similarly to how I was having trouble with it before. So anyways, I rebooted the miner. We're gonna see if that makes any difference, and let's see what we got over here. So we're running, I ended up adding a little more voltage to it. So to give everybody an idea exactly the settings I'm running in Linux, I'm at 170 for my voltage setting, or my wattage setting. So I'm limiting it to around 170 watts. You can see it fluctuates there, and of course these aren't exact readings, but it gives me an idea anyway. I don't have my kilowatt meter. I still need to get one of those, so I don't have a reading at the wall, but essentially I'm running 115 on the memory clock offset, 1100 on the memory transfer rate, and I'm running at fan speeds of 50. Essentially, I used to run my fan speeds a lot higher, so shout out to Bits Be Tripping, because I've been watching a lot of his stuff lately, and he seems to be really informed, and he's been mining for a long time. So anybody who wants some really good knowledge on there about mining, go check out his channel. So yeah, anyways, I turned down my fans from the higher rates I had them down to the lower rates. I've got the card spread out enough here behind me to make it so that it doesn't really, the temperatures are quite fine. As you probably saw, they were all under 70 degrees, closer to 65 actually. So I'm happy with that, and my fan speeds are lower, so I'm not gonna burn up my fans as quickly. So on to some of the questions that you guys were asking. Question regarding the actual cards I have, the 1070s, 1070 for the wins. I've been really happy with them so far. The 1070 Ti is good as well, but honestly the 1070 for the wins seem to cool better than the 1074 Ti. It could be because of the backplate here. These ones have back plates, whereas the 1070 Ti doesn't have a black backplate. So that could definitely be causing, some issues. As you can see, I still haven't tied up my mess of wires here, but that will be for a later date once I have everything running stable. I was hoping not to mess with the cards too much until I got the 1060s, because I knew I would have to mess around with them some more once I got those. I keep getting different errors on my miner, and the miner shuts down, so I gotta tweak my settings and figure out what's going on here. So yeah, anyways, I really do like the 1070 for the win 2s. They are hashing around, I'd say around 500 pretty steady souls per second, and anywhere from, as you can see here, so the two 1070s are the GPU 0 and GPU 2. We're actually, well, it's actually cooler, the same temperature. The middle card is heating up a little bit more than the outside two cards. But anyways, we're right around 500 souls per second. It varies a little bit, and you can bring that all the way down to 150 watts and still get around the same hash rate. But I've turned it up because I want to see if it can run more stable. I'm probably going to bring it back down to 160 because it was running fine there as well. Sorry, no OBS, guys. I don't have it on Linux, so I can't really do that. But yeah, all right. So next on the topic is what is mining, guys? I've had a few people ask me what exactly is mining and how does this make any sense? How are you mining for something? Mining, traditionally mining, you think of what, mining for gold or something out of the ground, right? Well, when you're mining for cryptocurrency, you're essentially providing a service for the people that are not using the network. And I didn't come up with that. Again, shout out to Bits Be Tripping. I really liked his description, so I'm kind of I guess tweaking it and using a little bit of his description, but I like the way he described that it's a service to the network and to the people using the network. So essentially what you're doing is you're securing the network by mining these coins. Every so often, depending on the coin you're mining, there's a block that's rewarded, and in that block, I guess you'll essentially, if you're curious about what blocks are and how blockchain works, you can check. Actually, I always point down below, but it's actually up here that I'm supposed to put the cards. So the cards are up here if you're interested in a what is blockchain / Bitcoin sort of demonstration or a talk from me, just from my knowledge, I guess, of it. So essentially, what you're doing is you're mining for a block. The block will essentially, if you get the block, you'll get paid out a certain amount of those coins, and that amount varies depending on the difficulty. So the difficulty changes. The difficulty is essentially just a variable that changes based on how many miners are mining. So if there's a lot of miners on a certain coin, or there's a lot of power being dedicated to a certain coin, the difficulty typically increases. Now, different coins and stuff will have different difficulty adjustments along the way, and each coin will work things differently, but essentially that's what it is. So as more miners get added to the system, the difficulty increases, and you end up having a harder time mining blocks. Similarly to when you're mining for gold and the supply decreases, it's going to become more and more difficult and require more resources to mine that gold. When you're mining cryptocurrency, you're going to have the same sort of issue where as the circulating supply gets closer to the max supply and you're starting to mine all the coins, the difficulty will be getting very, very high, and it's going to just take longer and longer to mine those coins. Eventually, I'm sure there will be a point where the coins are mined out and there's no more coins. As far as I know, when that happens, depending on the coin we're talking about, the miners will still have a way to make money, or a wage, so to speak, because the miners right now get paid partly by finding the block or being part of the group of miners that find the block, and they get rewarded, a percentage based on how much hash power, how much power they put towards finding that block. And they also get paid out partly in fees. Now the fees right now, they're not a huge percentage of what the miner makes right now. So I guess that will slowly change as more and more people use the networks that were, of the different coins, and as the circulating supply gets closer to the max supply. To reiterate, I guess, so what you're doing when you're mining is you're providing a service for the people that are using the coin. So without the miners, anybody who wants to transfer one coin to another, transmit the coin over the network, they need the miners to verify the transaction, to make sure that the transaction is a legitimate transaction. Without the miners, there wouldn't be that check. I suppose there's nodes and other things out there that allow for that as well, but I'm limited on that knowledge yet, so I can't talk about that one right now. So as far as mining, that's how you're securing the network. So anytime there's a transaction, you're helping to make sure that transaction is a correct, legitimate transaction, as well as you are mining and trying to get that next block so that you can be rewarded. And essentially, the way you're mining to get that next block is your computer, these GPUs behind me are making me quite warm because I've turned up the power a little bit. We're still running at nice temps, but it's just throwing off a decent amount of heat. But essentially, they are trying to solve a series of math problems, I guess would be the simplest way of describing it. But they're trying to solve the problem. And if they get the right answer to the problem, they will be rewarded. And you get rewarded in the coin that you're mining. So if you hold on to those coins and the value of the coins rise, you end up with even more profit than, say, if you had just sold the coin directly back into Bitcoin and then back into fiats to pay bills or what have you. So anyways, hopefully that helps, guys. It was just a really quick off the top of my head kind of, description of what I think mining is. But I'm sure if I put a little more effort, if there's any more questions down below, I can really try to put a more in-depth explanation of more of the aspects, so even I understand every aspect of the mining a little bit more thoroughly. So thanks a lot, guys. Hopefully you found something useful out of this. Please make sure to hit that like down below and subscribe if you want some more of this kind of content. I do have some more graphics cards, as I said, coming by, and I even have a 13 card motherboard on the way with a CPU, which again, I just learned that maybe you might have a hard time running the full 13 cards, but worst case we'll adjust some things and maybe I'll have to get another CPU. But I plan to have more mining rigs in the future, so it's not a huge deal. Right now the prices of cards have just gone crazy. So I actually have cards on the way right now that I've paid, $280 for, and before they're even here, they were up to $350. Now they're sold out completely. This is all Canadian prices, so sorry, that's all I deal with. But yeah, so cards are getting really hard to find, and hopefully that will turn around. It seems to kind of go up and down like the markets do. So right now I'm just waiting for another opportunity to get my hands on a few more cards and to build this one a little bigger. See you guys next time. Thanks.